Good evening, all. A very heartily welcome to you all to this beautiful and wonderful evening. On behalf of Ingress team of Mar Basili's College of Engineering and Technology, there are new mountains for you to climb. There are new opportunities coming your way. Dream big. With this note, I extend a warm welcome to our speaker who helped to our sponsors who helped to organize this event, our coordinators, and our speaker for gracing this event with his presence. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to our speaker, Mr. Mohammed Shine. He works as a security engineer at UST and he won a bug bounty for finding and reporting a security vulnerability in an Apple product. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Marish. Thanks for the introduction. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. Today, I'll be talking about getting started with bug bounty. I'm Mohammed Shine. I'm a security engineer at UST Global, Trivandrum. I am with the network security team at UST, and I also runs security audits on mobile applications. I'm with the team for about 2 years. I'm also a occasional bug bounty hunter, not a frequent one. I do bug bounties during Saturdays and Sundays if I don't have anything else to do. Apart from that, I'm also a photographer. I mostly do automotive photography. And if you're interested in viewing my photos, you can go to Instagram, and that's my username there. I'm also a core team member at DEFCON Trivandrum. DEFCON Trivandrum is a cybersecurity group which focuses on cybersecurity conferences, workshops, and CTFs, etc. I'm also a volunteer at ASRG Kerala. ASRG is Automotive Security Research Group, and this group focuses on automotive security and automotive security threats. Like we also do car hacking. Like now we are planning to collaborate with Kerala Police Cyberdome and create a lab about car hacking, which is open to the public for free. Before before working in pen testing, I was a blue team engineer. Blue team consists of defending an organization from security threats. I was with a company called Siva Digital Consultancies at Technopark. So let's move to the session. The agenda for today will be like introduction to bug bounties and the difference between pen test, traditional pen testing and bug bounties, note taking. We'll be also checking for targets and tools which we use in bug bounty. Reporting is one of the major concern with that every bug hunter faces. So I'll be focusing on how not to report those kinds of stuff also the resources, and the last part will be Q&A, in which you can ask me doubts about bug hunting as well as like cyber security or career related doubts. Okay, let's talk about bug bounties. A bug bounty is a program which is offered by organizations to protect their assets. It is open, there will be an open website or open product, and many security researchers from all over the world can hack into the system. And if the researcher found a good or a severe issue, he will be rewarded. The rewards will be on it depends on like the severity, and it may be a t-shirt, even a t-shirt, to several dollars. Recently I found a security issue in one of Apple's product, and they rewarded me with $5,000. Then there are also many cases where I got stickers, t-shirts, and even Red Bull. There's a program called Red Bull, and they offer the energy drinks for finding vulnerabilities in their assets. Some of the notable programs are like Google. Microsoft, Apple, and GitHub and Facebook. And these are like good targets to hunt, and we get more like high like a huge amount of money for finding issues. Platforms. Uh, Platforms are like a collaborative platform there in which there are many sites which are clubbed together, and researcher can like sign up there, and he can find issues and report to the platform, and the platforms will send the forward the report to the companies, and then the reward will be like issued, and the platforms reward the researchers with money. And some of the examples of bug bounty platforms are HackerOne, Bugcrowd, Integrity, and Synac. The last one, Synac, is a good program, but they have a different strategy to get researchers. There are a couple of assessments to be passed to sign up as a researcher in Senate. Other everything you can like simply sign up as a normal researcher. You could also find independent programs. Independent programs are not listed in any platforms, so those programs can be found using these Google Docs. And if you are not familiar what a Google Doc is, it's a search query which can be used to retrieve data from search engines. And some of these are used to find bug bounty programs too. And let's talk about traditional pen test and bug bounties. As I earlier mentioned that I am a pen tester at USD. Like, we are the bug bounties and pen test are like they have the same concept, but they differ a little. Like in pen test, we focuses on all kinds of security issues, but in bug bounties, the programs are mostly focusing on like four levels of bug category, which is P1, P2, P3, and P4. And P3, P1 vulnerabilities are the high severe bugs, and P4 is the low severe bugs. But in pen testing, we also give more importance to informational level vulnerabilities, which doesn't make any critical impact to the system, but pen testing focuses that too. Note taking. Note taking is a crucial part in every pen test as well as bug bounty, and you should always keep a track of the vulnerabilities and track of the assets, so that it makes your report simple and your reporting simpler, and you could also like use it for future reference. Some of the tools which I use for note taking is KeepNote, CherryNote, OneNote, and Joplin. Joplin is for for Mac OS, and you could even use pen and paper if you wish. Choosing a target. Choosing a target, it is one of the difficult part where all beginner researchers face. There will be millions of websites, and the researcher will be confused to where to look for. So choosing a target is one of the crucial part in bug bounties. And for choosing a target, we should understand the scopes which should understand the assets which are in scope. The most common assets are like web applications, mobile applications, Android applications, and iOS applications. The clients are the softwares which are developed by the applications, which can be installed in the system, like .exe files or .msi files, for example. Then network ranges. Some programs also focuses on network ranges of their organizations in bug bounties. Then third-party services used by organizations like GitHub, Trello, and Jira. Jira is a ticket tracking tool which is made by Atlassian, but some companies also offer bug bounties for finding issues in third-party domains. Then there's a program called Tesla, and Tesla offers bug bounties for cars, like finding vulnerabilities in their cars. Web applications. In today's session, we will be more focusing on web applications because in my personal opinion, like web applications are the easier target to look for. And also, when you choose a program, give more priority to wildcards. Wildcards are the domains which are like all the domains of all the subdomains of the main domain will be in scope. That's known as wildcards. For example, like if you choose a program called Dell Technologies, and if there's a star in front of this and in front of the parent domain, all the subdomains which comes under Dell Technologies are in scope. Then the next point is always read the out of scope guidelines. Because like when I started my bug bounty journey, like I had many issues with out of scope domains. Like I found many vulnerabilities in out of scope domain, and I didn't get rewarded. And that also can like reflect in your reputation in bug bounty. So always read the out of scope guidelines. And some of the assets will be not in scope, or some of the vulnerabilities will be not in scope. So always check for out of scope domains. Then okay, now let's move to like deep into bug bounties. It's like there are many methodologies or many phases in bug bounties or a pen test. The first phase will be information gathering, which is also known as reconnaissance. In reconnaissance, there are two types of reconnaissance, like it's active and passive reconnaissance. You could in bug bounties we'll be most focusing on, and today's also in today's session we'll be most focusing on passive reconnaissance, because active reconnaissance is the process where we interact with the domain and get information. But in passive reconnaissance, we will not interact with the domain, or we don't have any connection with the domain, but we use open source tools or like open source intelligence to find maximum information about the asset. Now, subdomains. Okay, subdomains, like if you don't know what a subdomain is, this is a slide to like explain what a subdomain is. Subdomain is something like it's used for it's used by like organization to host different services. For example, Google uses mail.google.com for their emailing purposes, and images.google.com for like searching images and those kind of stuff. So this is the main domain or the parent domain, and this is the subdomain. Mail is a subdomain. So the first question will be, how will you find an asset's subdomain? You could use many tools. Some of the tools which I use is Amass, Subfinder, and CertSH. CertSH is a website which you can use for subdomain enumeration. And Amass is one of the tools by from OWASP. And in today's session, I'll be showing how to use Amass for subdomain enumeration. And this is the command for finding subdomains using Amass. Amass enum passive minus d google.com/source. And these are the flags which can be used for finding the subdomains, and finding these flags will give different like results. So you could also go to the GitHub page of Amass and check the user manual for more information. And this is cert.sh, in which if you are not a Linux or Windows user, and even if you don't have a pen testing lab for doing bug bounties, you can use this website to enumerate subdomains. You can go to the website crt.sh, and there's a search field here, and you can give the domain name, and it lists all the subdomains which is owned by the organization. Okay, now another part of in passive recons, we use different search engines. One of my personal favorite is Shodan. Shodan is you could call Shodan as a search engine for hackers. Shodan is a search engine for internet connected devices or services. You can go to shodan.io for having a walk around this website, and this is you could gather all the information of a system which is connected to the internet. Some of the alternatives of Shodan are Census, Sumai, and Spice. This is the interface of Shodan. You can go to shodan.io and there will be a search field. You can there are different search queries here. Like you can org for finding the organization, and you can give the organization name, and it will list all the like internet connected services of this organization. And you can see some of the like Google's or Google operated services, or like some organization which uses Google services, and those kinds of stuffs can be found using Shodan. And if you are more interested in learning about Shodan, there's a PDF called Complete Guide to Shodan, and I will paste the link of this PDF after completing the session. And this is FOFA, which is the Chinese version of Shodan. And this also works similar to Shodan, but it can give different results. Okay, let's move to Google hacking. So do you know that we can use Google, literally we can use Google for hacking, but it's not like it's Google is a tool for hacking, but we can use many resources which are available, or many services that is offered by Google for bug bounty purpose. The first one is like Google Doc. Google Docking is like mechanism in which Google accepts search queries to retrieve or to show some like juicy information. This is a structure of Google Doc that is in URL, domain, and docs. In URL is a place where we should like keep the URL, and a domain is like a .org or .gov or like you can specify it according to yours. Then okay, now this is a Google hacking database, which is now owned by OffSec or Offensive Security, which are the like providers of the certification OSCP. And this database contains all the all the Google Docs, which can be like accessible publicly. And if you have a different query, and you can like you are willing to publish it, you can mail to like docs at offsec.com, and they will publish it in their database. So the URL for like visiting this is exploit-db.com, and you can see the Google hacking database there. And this is an example of Google Doc, and which retrieves all the open FTP servers. FTP is something that is a file transfer protocol, and you could in easier words, we could say that FTP can be like used for saving or like storing like some data, and that open servers can be used can be found using Google Docs just by like typing in title index of and in URL FTP. And in bug bounties, we could use like if a company offers bug bounty, and you could also give the organization name with the query, and if there's an open web server or an open FTP server, and if you get the like data, you could report it and you might get rewarded. Okay, so this is another website called pentesttools.com, and you can use these tools for easy Google docking. Like you can just give the organization name, and this site will an organization name, and you can select the files which you needed, and just click the files, and you can get the information from Google itself. So this is like easier, like it makes your job easier. This website makes your job easier. And the next part, after reconnaissance, the next part is content discovery. In content discovery, we could search for hidden files and what parameters. I haven't included parameters in my session, but I will be giving a brief idea about what parameters and how can you use different kinds of parameters to get different types of vulnerabilities. And in these are some tools which can be used to find juicy files and folders, and like hidden files and folders which are not like available publicly or in the web. One tool which I like personally like is fuff, and this is the command to use fuff. And first you should use fuff, and you should specify the word list and the location of the word list. I am using the common PHP file names, and I have like specified a website here, and I have give fuss, and this is the place where the tool checks for the hidden directories. And I have found some of the files, which is login.php, index.php, cert, and search.php, and logout 404 user info, blah, blah. So this is one of the tool, and if you this is my personal favorite, because other tools are like this search is good and fast, but it is like it gives the result in a like messy manner, messed up manner. So it's very like difficult to understand what files are present. So I use fuff, and you can use like any tool, even the search derp or anything. And there are many tools which are available like in GitHub, and you can use that too. And the payloads, or the like path names, can be like used, like you can use checklist. Checklist is a like it's a repository which contains all the payloads, or the what path names. It literally consists all data, all the payload list. And for discovery, content discovery, for fuzzing, for passwords, it also contains default passwords, common passwords, thousand common password, 10,000, and much more. So you can use this repository for all your fuzzing activities. Now let's move from like web application, and move to the IP ranges. How can you find IP ranges? This is a good website for finding an organization's IP ranges. You could go to whois.rn.net, and there'll be a search field, and you should just give the like the organization's name. Here I have gave like Smule, the name Smule, and I got the IP ranges of Smule. And like this, you could give anything like Google, Yahoo, Apple, anything. So those list the IP ranges. So now you have IP ranges, and what can you do with these IP ranges? That is like you can find the active IPs in this IP ranges. Like for example, you can use nmap to find the active IPs, and check for the open ports and fingerprint web servers. If the common web ports are like 80 and 443, and there might be like some other web servers which is running on different ports, you can find those and attack those too. And you could also use NSE and Vulner script. NSE is nmap searching engine, which can be used to like it acts as a scanner. You can use it as a scanner to find vulnerabilities, automated scanner to find vulnerabilities. Now, these are some vulnerabilities to check for. And if you're a beginner, you should definitely go with this, because these vulnerabilities are easier to learn and easy to exploit. So you will not get confused, and you can continue the journey easier. Some of the vulnerabilities that I started with are open redirects, CSRF, RCE, broken access control, sensitive data exposure, subdomain takeovers, and cross-site scripting. And I have explained some of the vulnerabilities in the comment slides, but some of them are like some sensitive data exposure is one of my favorite, and you can use the fuzzing tools which I mentioned earlier, like the one fuff or div search to get sensitive data exposure in configuration files, in like user information disclosure, and any kind of stuff. And subdomain takeovers are something like when a subdomain like the period is expired, and you can like take over the subdomain, and then that's another. And cross-site scripting is one of the common vulnerability, or which an entry level or a beginner bug hunter always look for. And you could also get plenty of resources in the internet for learning about cross-site scripting. And I have one session about like one slide about open redirect, because this is one of the easier like vulnerability to find as an entry level bug bounty hunter. And if you ever found a website like site.com which redirects to another site, and if it is not checking for this redirection, and you can give any other website, for example, you change the site to .com to any other malicious website or a phishing website, and if it's redirects, and then it is called as open redirect. And this is a good GitHub repository for learning about open redirects and like bypassing open redirects. Some sites use filters to bypass the filters to check for open redirects, and you can use these bypass techniques which is mentioned in this GitHub repo for bypassing this open redirect and like exploit the website. CSRF occurs when the user's browser is to perform unwanted actions on a web vulnerable application. For example, it's like transferring some amount by sending a HTML page or a link. If the attacker send a link and the victim clicks it and he performs unintended actions, then it is called as CSRF. The full form of CSRF is cross-site request forgery, and these you will also get plenty of resources about CSRF, and CSRF is one of my personal favorite vulnerability to exploit. RC, this RC is like it's a remote code execution, which comes under the category P1, which is the critical one. If you successfully exploit an RC, you could even like take control of the web server or the whole system. And some of the methods which I use for like RC is like file upload vulnerability, in which you could upload a file and get a reverse shell, or you can upload a web shell, for example. For example, a website accepts images, and the website is written in PHP, and if you can upload a PHP web shell or a reverse shell, then if you get a reverse connection, and then that's remote code execution, and you probably like take over the whole system. Then deserialization bugs, which comes under like insecure deserialization vulnerability, in which deserialization is a process of converting like data to byte streams, and when the application deserializes it, you could exploit it to RC. Then some other like RC methods are like is CVs, exploiting CVs. CVs, common vulnerability exposures. It is like standard which is given to non-vulnerabilities in the format of the vulnerability which has been, or the exploit which has vulnerability which has been in which it has found. Like for example, it is like CV 2020-1997 means like 2020 is the year which the vulnerability was found, and the 1997 is the code for the vulnerability. And you could CVs, exploiting CVs are like I have found more than like 20 RCs using exploiting some of the known CVs. Command injection is like another type of remote code execution vulnerability, in which you could inject Linux or Windows commands to the web server and take over the whole system. Now, let's talk about broken access control. Broken access control, like the common vulnerability which comes under broken access control is IDOR, which is insecure direct object reference, where in which, like, for example, let's consider two URLs with two accounts. Like if the user A have an ID of 8080 and another user have 8081, and the user A changes the 8080 to 8081, and if he can see or make changes in the bank account of the user B, then it is known as IDOR, or broken access control. So these vulnerabilities are very easier to exploit, and those are like those comes under high severe category, and you'll get you can make plenty of money using IDORs. Some of the miscellaneous vulnerabilities or some issues you should also check for is version disclosure. And using version disclosures, you can check for like if there is any CVs or publicly known vulnerabilities, and you could exploit that. Or you could check for security headers. For example, if you're not familiar with security header, it's like it's a security mechanism which we give to the web server to protect from some of the vulnerabilities. For example, X-frame options is a security header which is used to protect the website from clickjacking vulnerabilities. Clickjacking is nothing but you could embed a website in a iframe or an iframe in HTML, and it could make the user to do unintended actions. So that is one of the header, security header. You could also check for security headers. Then framework related vulnerabilities. If a framework exposes some data, for example, Kibana, there's a data visualizing tool called Kibana, and if it is not properly configured, you could also it leads to data exposures. And you could also look for business logic issues like parameter tampering. For example, if a website is using some client-side validations for payment options, you could also exploit that and change the value of the payment. Okay, now let's talk about Swiss knife of web hacking, or the tool Burp Suite. Burp Suite is a tool which is made by the company or the organization Portswigger. This is the most common web application Pentest tool which is used widely, and this is a community edition. And there's a pro version which also has web application vulnerability scanner, in which it automatically detects some of the vulnerabilities. And you could easily download this by visiting the website Portswigger. And this is a normal workflow of a web application. So before moving to further slides, I would like to mention that this session will be about the basics of bug bounty, and bug bounty doesn't covers all the aspects of web application security. So always try to learn the basics of web application security, the basics of web application, how things work, and that will makes you a better hunter. And this is a normal workflow of a web application. You could request it into the browser, and it goes to the server, and the server responds back. And we can use Burp Suite to intercept the traffic, and that when whatever requests which we give to the browser will be captured by Burp Suite, and you can use Burp Suite to change the data and send it to the web server. This is the main use of Burp Suite. Okay, then this is a function of Burp Suite, and this part is called as a repeater. And repeater can be used to view the request and response at the same time. And you could check for any vulnerabilities for cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting is like injecting JavaScript, malicious JavaScript in the web forms or web application, and you could use the repeater function to check the issue. And the repeater can be also used for checking the server headers, server details, and even the server the version disclosures can be found here. This website is powered by PHP, and the security header is X-powered by. X-powered by is the header which reveals the versions of the service. Intruder is another module of Burp Suite, which can be used to attack, used as an you can use for brute forcing brute forcing. For example, consider a website with a login form, and you can see the username and password, and we are trying to brute force the password. You could use the function of Burp Suite's Intruder for brute forcing. For example, the parameters which are passed is uname and pass, and you could use these pass as a password. And this is these symbols are fixing or telling the tool where to fuss or where to brute force. And after that, you can start the attack, and you can see that some of the payloads or the passwords have been accepted. And one thing is having a status code of 200, and other 302, which is a redirection, and 200 is status okay. And so by this we could understand that the password is test. And this also comes under another kind of vulnerability, which is called as rate limiting, in which it's a low hanging vulnerability or a low severe vulnerability, in which you could brute force a login form, or you could spam emails, or you could send spam emails for like that. So the Burp Suite is actually the tool which you can use for any kind of attacks, web application attacks, any kind of web application attacks. Now, let's talk about automation. Okay. Now I have told you about how you can use different tools for different purposes. Now it's the time for automation. Automation is something you club all these tools, and you could I have mentioned here, never do the work which is meant for computers. Which when I started my bug bounties, I the thing which I faced was like I haven't noticed, like I haven't any idea about, I have no idea about automation. So I do everything manually, and I lose, or I wasted many time there. But like after that I learned Python and Linux shell scripting, and now I have custom made tools which is used for automation, and that gives good results. My methodology is like I club all the web application tools, or like security tools, and I bought a web server, sorry, a private server, a VPS, and I hosted all the tools there, and it runs like automatically there, and I get the results in my mobile phone. I have created in such a way. So for automation, you can use some of the tools can be like HTTPX. HTTPX is a tool which is created by Project Discovery, and you can download it from the GitHub repo. And this can be used for finding live domains. And for example, you have found like hundreds of subdomains using the tools which I mentioned earlier, and you don't know which all subdomains are working or which are alive. Well, you can use the tool HTTPX for finding the live subdomains. And this is like, these are the tools which I mentioned, like which is this is AMAS, this is HTTPS, this is FF, and this is Nmap. So you can use like any type of language. Like for I prefer shell scripting, and if you're like good in Python, you can club all these tools and create like a script to automatically run this test, and you will get like you can save time there. And this is one of the best tools for automation. This is Nuclei. Nuclei is created by the Project Discovery, and Nuclei is it works as an automated scanner, and you can use this tool for detecting misconfiguration vulnerabilities and CVEs. Like if this website is affected with any CVEs, or if it is like for information disclosure and much more. Nuclei is a good tool for automating all different types of attacks. And nuclear templates are something like you could use YAML, that is a markup language which can be used for configuration files. So you can you can create your own custom templates for finding vulnerabilities. Now, reporting. Reporting is a crucial part in bug hunting. And it's like if you write a good report, the chance of getting a reward is more. And for example, like there are some situation where there was a duplicate bug. A duplicate bug is a bug where you can where the bug is already reported by some other researcher, and duplicate will be not rewarded. And there are some situations where the triager is someone who checks these reports, or who works for the organizations, or the bug bounty organizations. And after reading the report, the triager feel like it is a good report, and even though it is a duplicate report, the researcher was rewarded. So for reporting, you could some tips for reporting is like include all the details, like how you find the vulnerability, or how which are methods you use for vulnerability. Then encrypt. If you are reporting it to the independent websites, or like independent bug bounty programs, they prefer the reports by emails. So you can use PGP keys for encrypting it and sending it. Then you could also include screenshots and screen recordings. If you're not good at writing reports, you can use screenshots or screen recordings. Then you could also use Markdown. If the website uses, or the platform supports Markdown, you can use Markdown. Markdown is a text formatter which can be used for formatting plain text to a structured manner. You can, yeah, that's it. Now, these are some of the reports you should never do, like asking the company for money. You could never ask the organization for any monetary benefit, like please give me bounty, or give me rewards. And there are some reports like they will the researcher states that they have found a couple of security issues, and if and he will send a security one security issue, and if he gets rewarded, he will be writing the report like this, like, if you give me bounty for this, I will send the live reports. And never ask the update or the bounty updates like frequently. Ask if you don't feel comfortable, like in way, like ask after a week or a month. Never ask after 5 months or 5 minutes or like a couple of minutes. Now, some of the resources which you can refer for bug bounties are like Nahamsec, Stock, XSS Rat, Insider PhD. These are the YouTube channels which can be used for bug bounties. I prefer this one because like bug bounty has been changed more. Like now the crowd or the researchers is more, and there'll be there's a high chance for you are competing with like more number than like 2 years back. So these YouTube channels like gives tips and tricks weekly, and the latest tips and tricks. So you could easily adapt with these YouTube channels. You could also use Twitter. Twitter is one of the best platforms to like for bug bounty like training. You could search for bug bounty tips, and you will get thousands of bug bounty tips in Twitter. Then these are the some books which you can like refer for bug bounty. The Web Application Hackers Handbook, which is an old one, but still it is one of the best books for like learning web application security as well as bug bounty hunting. And this is by Peter Yawosk, and this is one of the Web Hacking 101 is also like it contains all the reports of HackerOne. It contains all the HackerOne reports and like definitions of these vulnerabilities as well as how to reproduce this vulnerability. And this is also one of the best books available. Now, these are some of the blogs. You can go to pentester.land or Medium write-ups. There are many Medium write-ups about bug bounty hunting, and you could also like check for this category, bug bounty write-up for in Medium for learning about bug bounty hunting. And this is a GitHub repository by Nahamsec. You can go to this repository for getting latest tools, tips and tricks, and many write-ups as well as reports about bug bounty hunting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving this wonderful session. So with that, we'll go ahead and take some time for questions. You can ask your questions now. So we have got some questions already. Ben George asked, if we find a vulnerability, now how can we submit it to the organization and get a payout?
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you find a vulnerability, first check whether this whether the organization accepts vulnerability reports or whether they have a responsible disclosure policy. And if the company don't have this responsible disclosure policy, I suggest you to not to report it, or just because that may affect you in different way. Because I have seen many stories of bug hunters where the company doesn't have a responsible disclosure policy, and he reports a vulnerability, and the company may take legal actions. So if you are very confident that the company is not going to take legal actions, you can report it via mail or support mail, or I suggest you to don't report whether if the company doesn't have a responsible disclosure policy.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think it's clear for Ben. Any other questions, guys? Okay, I think we are good for now. Thank you, sir, for giving your valuable insights and for this wonderful session. And thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. And I once again thank our speaker for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you at the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish.
Hello, sir. So before we end, actually, like there's one more question that's there in the chat by
Okay.
Ruben. So he asked for an example of a bug that he discovered. Is it possible for you to show that? Or like explain it
Um,
if you want.
like I can't show because this comes under responsible disclosure, so I can't
Yes,
show
sir.
the reports which. But if you need, I can explain a scenario which I found in one of the asset.
Okay, so that's the reason.
Okay, there was a website which was that was a like educational website which offers certifications, and you can buy many like courses from them. And I use burp suite for the proxying the website, and I got a parameter called price, and this price was 100 rupees or 150 rupees for the certification. And I changed to the parameter price to one using burp suite, and I like resend it to the server, and the server accepted that, and I could buy any courses for 1 rupees. So that was one of my recent findings. And before that, I another one notable finding is SQL injections. I have found a couple of SQL injections. Like SQL injection, something like you could inject malicious SQL payloads to the websites. So I hope there are many YouTube channels that discloses publicly known vulnerabilities or public reports. I have suggested some of that in my slides, and I will share the slide with you so you can check for that reports too.
Thank you, sir. So I think that will be a wrap. Thank you, participants, for joining us.
Okay,
We'll meet you in the
thank you,
next session. Yes. Thanks.
thank you.